Dr. Donald Morton.
Donald Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton. Dr. Donald Morton is an award-winning social entrepreneur known for his innovative social solutions.
Based on this fatherhood and manhood issue in droves, in incredibly large numbers, and I felt it necessary for someone to have a voice like yourself to do the work of restoring men in our society, and I've been doing that work ever since.
His latest solution is expressed as the CEO of Remand.
So Remand, the nonprofit, is about helping brothers that are coming out of prison, brothers that are dealing with child support, brothers that are the most marginalized of our communities, helping them with their character and the institutions that impact them. And then the LLC, our for-profit arm, is really attempting to address the CEOs and CFOs and entrepreneurs and people like that say, look, I got issues too as a black man. My issues are a bit different because I'm in the C-suite. Mm-hmm. And how it plays out in the C-suite is very different than how it plays out on the block and those brothers that are coming out of re-entry. But here's the deal. All of us the same, for real, for real.
Dr. Morton is the former executive director of the Complexities of Color Coalition. As executive director of the coalition, he worked to congregate Wilmington, Delaware's African American community in order to create comprehensive strategy to influence institutions, policies, and laws. Dr. Morton has over 25 years of experience in African American community leadership. Remand is deeply personal. While he's glad that thousands of men are on this journey with him, it was started because he needed liberation. He was broken and bound, and he was fighting to put his life back together after divorce, infidelity, business challenges, bankruptcy, and a life destroyed by being the worst liar ever. Yes, Dr. Morton was a liar until he faced himself and proved his signature science, the character arc. Then and only then was he ready to lead men to learn and live the science of being Remand.
The Remand Project is a coaching and consulting firm specializing in personal and leadership development for adult black males, seeking to break the vicious cycle of missed potential so that they themselves transform their personal lives, their sense of leadership to their families, and their legacies that they want to leave for business and culture. We destroy this cycle on two fronts. We confront both the institution and the individual. We address the institution because, according to the statistics, black males are under assault and are targeted for extinction in ways that their white counterparts are not. We are over-incarcerated and under-educated. There are systems in place, political systems, media systems, and religious systems that serve as intentional, or some say unintentional, barriers to the black male's advancement. As a result, we work to raise public awareness about issues confronting black males, promote healthy and positive images about black males, curate spaces to share information and resources about programs, services, and support for black males, support knowledge creation and dissemination around these issues, and provide a forum for black males to both speak and act for themselves. We address the individual black male because we cannot avoid personal responsibility. We are now overmothered and underfathered. We make bad social choices, and we avoid responsibility for getting ourselves out from under the social plight that we face. We will develop the moral compass and character necessary to face the adverse realities that are faced in everyday life. We live by the premise that even that which is not our fault is still our responsibility. In 2019, we answered the call to transform the culture one man at a time. Our society, our families, and men in particular, are in a state of crisis. And the goal of the Remand Project is to curate the largest, strongest, and dopest community of Black males in the entire world. We then create awareness and action against the institutional and individual impediments that exist against the foundation of our culture and overall society, which is the Black male.
Black people. What's happening, y'all? This is Donald Morton, Chief Visionary Officer of Remand. At Remand, we help Black males interrupt patterns, disrupt behaviors, break the vicious cycles of missed potential so that that man can transform and master his life, leadership, and legacy. Of course, right to my right, not where the Cotton Candy podcasts are, but to my right is my co-host, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. He is the impact builder. He is the owner and CEO of JNF Enterprises. He is also the COO of Remand. He is the co-host of the Grown Man podcast. Just a dope overall dude. What's happening, man? Good morning. Listen, can you tell I'm hyped today? Leroy, I'm hyped today, bro.
I see.
Yeah. I've got a guy, and we're going to bring him on in a moment because we want to get as much as we can from him today.
To let you know, I'm not limited today. So if
you're not, I don't know if you today. No.
So we good. We good. We need to go as long as we need to go this morning.
You don't have to leave $50 on the nightstand and take off in the middle of the night. You're good today. Okay.
I'm good today. But I'm good from that respect. But yeah, I'm glad Doc is here. I'm here today because I got some mental health that I need some help with. Because these social media Cotton Candy podcast folks done piss me off this weekend, bro.
Where can they find those podcasts?
For those that don't know, the Cotton Candy podcast, you can find them 4 blocks down, make a left, and look for the green awning. You can't miss them because they there all the time about nothing. That's they're there all the time about nothing. So if that's what you want, you're more than happy to go down there and go see about them. But up in here, we about that mental health thing. This is mental health. We about that thing.
About it, right? How has your weekend been, man? What do you think about in 30 seconds or less, bro? What do you think about the game last night? Do you think you think the series is a wash now? You think it's over?
No, see, that's the thing. People, if you watch the history of NBA finals and playoffs and stuff, a 2-0 lead means nothing. It really means nothing. Boston did what they were supposed to do, which was win at home.
Yeah.
And that's all they did. That's all. Anybody that thinks anything else other than that, you're sadly mistaken because. And I hate these analysts that get out here. Oh, Boston is completely no. They won 2 games. Like Kobe, like they asked Kobe that one time, right? They were like, "We up 2-0, Kobe, and how you feeling?"
Is it finished?
They're like, "You're not smiling." You're not smiling. He's like, "No." Yeah, for what? The job's not finished. we won 2 games. Yeah, that's it.
That is
now. Now I do think Boston has more talent than Dallas. To be honest with you, I think they got a lot more. As an entire team of the players that can step up. I don't think Dallas has other than was his is it Lokic? Is it Lokic? I think that's how he says his name.
Mhm.
Him and Kyrie, they're the two biggest scorers. But who do they have? That third wheel. You gotta have that
Yeah,
third wheel.
yeah,
Any
yeah,
championship team has that third guy that contributes.
yeah,
Whether it's off the bench or whatever. If you look back through the NBA, any of them, they've always had those three major players.
for sure.
So
Sure, man. Listen, I want to say good morning to our people here. Coach Walter Sellers is in the house. Good morning,
Coach.
Coach. Gents, good morning. He has bench pressed 2,972 pounds. He did so yesterday. It's a personal best. He's killing the game, man. He's killing the game. Shout out to Coach personally, and then also with his business. Good morning, Dwight. Good to see you, black man. Good to see you, bro. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see. Wifey is here. There's my baby. Wifey is here. Good morning, babe. She is here every Monday morning, and she is the one that introduced me. We're going to talk a bit about it, Leroy. She's the one that introduced me to the work of Dr. Kit, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so I want to shout out to my wife. I had to send her a text and ask her, hey, babe, did we find out about Dr. Kit together, or did you introduce me to him and his work? And she was like, I introduced you. Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
Let's be
As Claire Huxtable would say, let the record show.
And Cliff always say, here we go and let the
Here we go.
yeah. So I'm incredibly excited. First anniversary. Yeah, Dwight. Thank you, man. Thank you to everyone. My page was lit up for June the 8th. June the 8th was Lala and I's. Those of you that don't know, I call my wife Lala. Lala and my first anniversary, our first year anniversary. And so we've embarked upon, and we decided we have this thing. We didn't formally do it this time, but we have this thing where we ask ourselves the question, do we still? Right? When we get married, we say, I do. Every now and then it's good to check in and say, do we still? And both of us decided we were going to, Leroy, we make the commitment 1 year at a time.
We get 12 months. We got to reevaluate.
12 months. And so she said, baby, let's do it for another 365. I said, babe, let's do it for another 365. Yeah. So we got 12 months where we will continue to rock out. Right. I want to get Dr. Kit, because I got a boatload of questions. And I'm so glad, Leroy, that you're going to be with us for the entirety today. We don't have to really rush. We're not going to take up all of Dr. Kit's day either, but we don't have to rush, right? Because
right.
You normally are unfaithful on Mondays with this podcast. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I told my side podcast I got to take care of some business.
Yeah, you're normally unfaithful, right? So Dr. Kit, I'm not going to do a whole bio, right? Because you got, everybody will get an opportunity to feel his vibe, to hear his wisdom. He's in the black room, right? And I told him, I said, this is how it's going to go, Dr. Kit. He said, yeah, man, I forgot to tell you, I'm a fraud. I don't know anything about anything you're about to talk about. I'm just a doctor on TV, right? And which is not the truth, right? He's just a brilliant guy. And what you and I will like about him, Leroy, is he's just like we are, just like Remand is, just kind of really direct, straight shooter, in your face kind of guy, with so much grace and wisdom with it, that I said to myself, I got to have Dr. Kit on the podcast. I first came in contact with his work with Love and Marriage Huntsville, which is a
Okay.
reality show, right? And the ways in which he navigated group sessions, conversations that he had with individual males, I said, yeah, he's my kind of guy. So I'm really, really excited to have him here. And I want everyone, those of you that are watching, do me a favor, tag some people, let them know that we're on, at some people. Even if you just do one person, tell them get in this room. We're going to be talking about, Leroy, mental resilience and how to recover after infidelity. Right? Because I think that's an important conversation to have. Let's bring Dr. Kit to the stage. There he is.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah.
Dr. Kit, what's happening, man? Thank you for hanging out with us.
Listen, hanging out with this is a great start to my Monday. You know that, right?
Get ready, Doc. I'm telling you, your Mondays ain't never started like this. I promise you.
Listen, man. Let me tell you something. Listen, man. He put me in the black room. I'm a black man. He put me in the black room.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, we don't do green rooms around here. We do black rooms. Blackity black rooms.
Yes,
we're true to the cause, man. We're just true to the cause.
Yes, sir. In the black room, it's blackity black here on the Grown Man Podcast. Everything with Remain. Simply because you know what, for those of you that have been hanging out with us for a while, you know that the most underappreciated group of people on the planet can be Black people. And then when you add to that, the most underrecognized as it relates to achievements, our contributions to Black family, our contributions to culture has been solid Black men. And so it's important to me that we highlight the contributions of Black men, and we name everything around here Black. It is Black this, Black that, Black the other. Yeah, that's the way we do it here. Dr. Kit, I'm so excited to have you, man. I want to contextualize because I'm going to jump right in. I want to contextualize our conversation today, and you have free reign here, right? There are no limits here. You can say whatever you want to say. We do. We've not been canceled yet. We don't know whether we will be, but we've not been canceled yet.
Yeah.
I want to take you back. I was married before, and in my previous marriage, I cheated on my ex-wife. And I will tell you that the reason why we divorced was not just because of the infidelity. She left me, and she should have, right? She left me because I did not know, Dr. Kit, how to sit with her in the pain I caused her. So I was really trying to rush the process. Like, listen, it's over, it's done with. I'm not seeing her no more. Come on, let's get over it. Let's do what we need to do. And I was really never empathetic with regard to what I put her through. Having dealt with men for almost 30 years now, having dealt with men for 30 years, I have seen a similar pattern when guys mess up, they do something stupid. They really want to rush the process. Like, come on. No, I did that. I did that 6 weeks ago. I said, yeah, my man, but you're not going to get past that in 6 weeks. Like there's some real work of restoration that has to be put in. And I really want to talk about infidelity, the challenges, the psychological impact that infidelity has on the perpetrator of infidelity, Dr. Kit, and then also those that have been lied on, right? And the reason why this became important is Tiger Woods was never the same. He was never the same after the infidelity. There was a real impact on his professional career, on his personal life. And I'm wondering if there's some tie, Dr. Kip, between infidelity and its impact on our professional and personal lives. I know that's a lot, but I really want you to kind of talk to us about that.
All right. Well, first of all, listen. Let me just say, listen. Thank you for having me on the show. It's to be among great men with great thoughts and to be just to be a part of this. It's kind of make me feel like I'm in good company. And so, I'm a praying man. So therefore, I said to the Lord, tell me what you want me to tell them. You sent Moses down into Egypt. You say, what am I going to tell you? Say, listen, just tell them that I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? I said, he said, just say that I am that I am. So my I am said, listen, go down and get on this thing and go talk to these men. But let me jump right in here. Let me tell you, marriage is a funny thing. And I love stories, So let me tell you a story here. We were the third or fourth people that moved into our community. They're just building this new. And one of the things that we watched, because we're building houses all around us, we have no houses here, just plain land. We watched this. We watched them clean the piece of ground they're going to put the house on.
Yes, sir.
They did all kind of prep work. And before they even set the foundation, they have to clean some stuff out of the way that don't belong there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, they didn't just rush the cleaning process, man. They took their time to make sure that they got everything out of the way that did not belong as a part of the foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And then they laid that stuff, man. And then they started laying the foundation. They several levels and several layers. It's not just dumping some gravel and concrete. They had to fix that thing and make sure that it could withstand the pressure that it would be under for the duration of the marriage. Listen to what I'm saying. Of the marriage above the foundation to the marriage of the foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that to me is not just a metaphor, an allegory, or that is the truth of the matter. And I'm thinking, and I'm asking myself, how many men preparatory getting into marriage do the clearing away of what it means to be single? And because if you don't, what happens here is that you have this tractor trailer that you carry behind you, and all of your single life, you just dump it in the trailer, you up in the tractor thinking that and because you can't see the trailer behind you, you think it's all over. But it ain't. It's just following you, my friend.
Wow.
You hear what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir.
It's just following you. And we'll get to this, but sometimes, and it's not so easy. See, in the world of trucking, you can unhitch the trailer and drive off in the sunset. You can't do that. There is no emotional unhitching. I am so sorry.
Wow. Wow. There is no emotional unhitching.
No.
Expound on that, Don.
All right. So here's what I'm gonna say. So I'm kind of jumping around here, okay, but I'm gonna get there.
Yes, sir.
So you know that when it comes to divorce, people don't divorce the who of the person. What we do is we discover that in this interpersonal relationship between two people, there are we have the behavioral component. This is what we do: the what, the when, the where, the how, all that kind of stuff. And when we make those things the catalyst for putting concrete into our relationship, when those things begin to go through this flawed process, okay, when we start to mess up in those areas, then we say to ourselves, enough is enough.
Yes.
and we leave. Nobody divorced anybody because of the who of the person. I'm gonna tell you why. We divorce people because of their behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the behavior of one person in this interpersonal relationship, like this. This is my world, your world, bump, 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 bump. But when you do this, now this is a marriage, like right here. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir.
This is it. And so when there's a problem here in this marriage, okay, because of the behavioral component, we say to ourselves, enough is enough. Enough is enough. All right.
Yes.
So we don't walk away from the who of the person. I'm going to tell you why. Because if we can, after divorce, you can ask people. You talk about people who write their memoirs about marriage and divorce, and you will discover in their writing they will always have and talk about the good times of their marriage. They've been married, they've been divorced for 10 years, remarried, but they're still talking about the good times. This is why I'm saying you cannot unhitch the trailer from the tractor, because it's here. It's like right here. And so as long as they're willing and able to talk about the good times mixed with the bad times, what they're really saying here is this: I divorced this person physically, legally, all of these things, but emotionally, as long as I can remember the good things and the bad things, as long as my memory is still good,
Wow.
I'm not divorced.
Wow. Wow.
Divorce is a farce. Get out of here.
Doc said divorce is a farce.
Yes,
Wow.
it is. There are too many things that keeps us tied into our original relationship, and that makes it hard for us to move on. Because I'm going to tell you something here. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. Oh, by the way, this is for free. I ain't charging you, but this is for free. I'm going to tell you. I'm tell you, if you can remember something about the past, okay, it will be with you for the rest of your life. If you can remember, because listen, the part of you when you got married, when you got married. So here it is. The good book says, the Bible says in Genesis. So God created all these animals and everything else like that. Told Noah, not Noah, Abraham to name all these. So he did. And then he didn't Mr. and Mrs. Cow, Mr. and Mrs. Horse, Mr. and Mrs. Giraffe, Mr. and Mrs. all of these things. And he said, but ain't no bad for me. So God, the omniscient, said, listen, I'm going to make, it's not good for man to be alone. So I'm saying, God, I talk to God like I'm talking to you, right? I said, God, but you are omniscient. You know all things. Why did you make this man with all the parts, all the feelings, and then come and tell me it ain't good for man to be alone? You should have fixed that right from the beginning. Come on, God, this is not an afterthought. So he puts him to sleep, calling the divine anesthesiology. He puts him to sleep, and he wakes up. He wakes up, and he looks at this woman. Never asked God, who is this woman? Never did. Adam, a single man, never asked God, who is this person? Because he had never seen a woman before. He simply made the first declarative statement that fell from a man's lips. He said, she is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. Let's push that a little further. Because she came from me. Now, in marriage, that's the foundation for marriage. That statement is the foundation for marriage.
Okay.
Because what Adam is saying, listen, she is the other part of me that's living outside of me. And because there's more of me left, I'm the rest of her that's living outside of her. You hear what I just said?
Yes.
Therefore, Therefore, I'm not going to go through all the depth of it. Therefore, whatever I do, wherever I go, because she's the other part of me, wherever I go, I'm always carrying her with me.
Wow.
Wherever I go, she's with me. Wherever she goes, I'm with her. And so therefore, whatever I do to me, because she's the other part with whatever I do to me, I'm doing to her. Whatever I do to her, I'm doing to me. You see, now we are inseparable, not physically, but here. This is why I'm saying that, once you get married, you're getting married to the other, and it becomes the other part of you, the other person of you that's living outside of you, a whole person living outside of you. You cannot separate from that. I don't care how many times. Listen, you know Elizabeth Taylor, right?
Yes.
Word has it that she was married 8 times.
Yes.
And the joke is, she went to them and said, listen, it won't be long. But if you go into marriage with that kind of an idea that I can use my wife as a wrench to tighten up a bolt, as a light bulb to get some light on me down here, as gas that I put in my car so I can drive, then we're not using them as the other part of us that lives outside of us. They now becomes this thing that we use to engage in our need and satisfy us. When my wife stops satisfied, no, let me put it right way. When I stop feeling satisfied, see, I was about to say when my wife stopped satisfying me, which is not true, because my wife cannot satisfy me. My wife don't have the capacity to satisfy me. But what I have is when I feel satisfied, I decide when I get satisfied.
Yes, sir.
So when I decide that I'm no longer getting satisfaction from my wife, that's when I say, listen, because she's not satisfying me, and this part of me still has a need to be satisfied here, biopsychosocial, physical, emotional, spirit, still has a need to be satisfied. And if I think that, and if I'm not getting the experience that I want from her, I'm going to go over there and satisfy something over here. So now I got to make a contact with over there and over here. And that's how it starts. And the point here is this. I'm going to go back and say it. Once you make that original commitment, you cannot break it. So here is the deal. And then I'm going to hush up and let you all ask me a question or two or tell me I'm crazy, shut me off or whatever. Here is the deal. Are you ready for this, Donald? You ready for this?
Absolutely.
I got something for you. I really got something for you. I hope your wife, I don't know if your wife want to hear this or not, but I got something for you.
Okay.
See, the part of you that was attached to your former wife, the other part of you, okay? That part of you that was attached to her is not available to your current wife because you cannot take it back from her, the first wife.
Wow. So the part of me, the part of any man that is watching, right, that has been married before, is married again, the part of that man that was made available to your former spouse is no longer available to your new spouse.
Right. You know why? Because you don't have the capacity to withdraw it from her. Once you make an emotional investment, you cannot withdraw it. You can withdraw how you feel. You can withdraw your behavior about how you're behaving then. But as long as you can remember, whatever you can remember about your former spouse is a part of you. It's not just an exercise. It's a part of you. And as long as it's a part of you, it will never go away. You can remember it, man. You got pictures. You got kids from the first man. You understand that? Those are some concrete things that will not make it possible for you to be totally separated emotionally, some physically, some financially, from your former spouse, and you will always have that part of you there. Therefore, if it's over there, that part of you cannot be available to your current or any other spouse. And if I could sketch it out, every time you get a divorce, you get married, you can only give your current spouse a part of the rest of you that you didn't leave over there. And so you get married 5 or 6 times, whatever you have to give to your spouse gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Is there an ability? So I think that's incredibly interesting. Leroy, you have a question before I ask this follow-up question?
No, go ahead.
Come on, man. Don't believe everything I say.
no, I'm a push. Because this is not the Cotton Candy Podcast. So I'm definitely Leroy and I have been on here arguing for 15, 20 minutes about things. So I'm going to push, right? So I think what I want to hear you talk about is you began the conversation today by saying, hey, look, there's some cleanup work that has to be done, right?
Yeah.
And Leroy and I have talked about that before. Leroy, we were talking about building buildings, right? And we were talking about the Environmental Protection Agency, and you got to dig up the soil, you got to test the soil, you got to go through all of those things before you can lay foundation. Mm-hmm. So that I 100% agree. I guess what I want to hear more about isn't there an ability for those who have lost their marriage to infidelity, or for whatever reason they lost their marriage, right? Isn't there an ability to clean up, to do that soul work, that inner work necessary to be able to move on in relationship? Because if not, then there's a whole lot of people. I guess there is there an ability to be whole beyond the divorce and to be able to move on to healthy relationships beyond divorce?
Yes, absolutely. But let me tell you this. The reason I'm saying what I'm saying is this. Okay?
Yes.
Watch me. What did I just do?
Exhale, breathe.
Do you know that was a part of me? I cannot go and retrieve it.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I just said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There is nothing I can do to retrieve that which is now my past. And I think a part of the reason here why us black men, and we have so many black men in prison and so many black men thinking about, is that we are so stuck to our past that we cannot make it into a new creation of like right here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I read this book a long time ago, but it's called Plato's Republic, and talk about these men chained in a cave, introduced to reality, and they wanted to kill the man who said, hey, you can be better than this. So yes, while it is possible, okay, you cannot go back and inhale, grab that, and say, it's going to be a part of me. That part of you is gone forever. But it doesn't mean that you are so wounded that you cannot regroup, because you can always grow. And what do we grow from? You always use our past to create pathways to moving forward. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir.
Always moving forward. Because let me put it this way. So if you get an orange, and I tell you to squeeze the orange, you're not going to get apple juice. You know that, right?
that is right. That is right.
You're going to get some orange juice. But the good thing about it is this, that there's always room for squeezing some more, which means that there's always something left on the inside that you can work with.
Wow. There's always something left.
Yes.
But it's not all that it was. I guess your point is, right? There's something left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to ask you a follow-up question, right? There's something left. It's just not all that it was. What was available to whoever I was with before,
Right.
That's gone.
Right.
But I do have enough, right, to be able to invest in this relationship, this marriage that I'm in. And I don't have to allow the fact that I've been married before to cripple what I have now with my spouse. Is that fair to say?
That's correct. And yeah, absolutely. And so what else am I saying? What I'm saying is to create a whole new sense of wholeness with what's left. Don't think that you are, that you're broken, you're busted, all of these things, that you have nothing left. There is some left, create this whole sense of, create a whole new amness, if I can use this.
Okay.
My amness. This is who I am. Create a whole new amness out of that. Okay. And so many of us can. And I tell you why I know that there is truth in that. I knew this person well, and this person had, was involved in an accident, and this person was kind of very athletic prior to the accident, and then after the accident, there's some limitations, okay. But I'm gonna tell you this: the person has now crafted and created a whole new way of seeing themselves and building themselves and investing in themselves and going, they've done that. They have not let that part of themselves, which is no longer available to them, to stop them from being who they want to be like right now.
Yeah. I see that, Doc. I do.
So listen. I'm gonna listen. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to move this down. We'll get to that. But new authentic.
So Michael Francis says, but new authentic connections can be made with your new wife without dwelling on the past. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes.
Let me say this, Doc. All of us was nervous. when you said that piece of you's gone, all of us got nervous, like, oh, whoa, what the heck? And but here's what it did for me, though. This is what it did for me. My wife and I talk about this all the time, right? And Leroy and I talk about it too. If brothers would simply pre-play the consequences of the decisions that we're making, right? This becomes, Leroy, another consequence, right? So what Doc says is, listen, you step out there, you do your thing, right? And then because I'm assuming this is just an assumption, Doc. I need you to come back and clarify it, right? An assumption. Is this concept that you're talking about, this principle that you're talking about, only in the context of marriage, or is this context or principle concept the same for relationships that you didn't get married? So for example, a part of what I've always said is, brothers, pay attention to the decisions that you're making, because you have a right to choose your decision. You don't have a right to choose the consequence. And the consequence of this kind of behavior now for me is, if my wife left me today, I'm less than again. So let's start making decisions that keep us from these pieces of us floating all over the place with other people. Let's make more concrete decisions that bring us healthy and whole kinds of relationships. Does any of that make sense?
It does. It does. Let me kind of, I'm just, what happened here is when new ideas get floated out there, it's kind of a hard sometimes to grapple with. This is what I like to create. I like to create pictures.
Yeah.
So, so my wife and I, we were down in Atlanta, last week sometime, last Friday. And we got hungry along the way, so we went to this place and they have vegetarian pizza. Nice. One of the things that's common about all pizzas, the construct.
Yes.
Right. It's the way they slice those things. That's pretty common. Not the topping, not it. But you know this though. Here's what happens. When you eat one piece of that pizza, the pizza was a whole pizza before you ate it. Okay. But listen, every part of that pizza is a whole piece of the piece of the pizza.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Each piece.
Yeah.
Once you slice that thing, now it becomes a whole piece in itself. So you still have the capacity, okay, to recreate that piece of you because there's wholeness left in you.
Ooh, Doc. My mom used to say, my mom transitioned, right? But my mom had this phrase, Doc. She said, "Oh, that's pretty, baby. That's pretty," right? so that helps me. Leroy, I want to give you space, man, to jump in.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, Doc. Come on, man.
Yeah, Leroy, I want to give you space.
I'm appreciating the conversation because I'm not married, so I'm taking in all of this knowledge. But I do like the question that Donald asked about. Does the context that you're talking about, does it apply in relationships, or how can it apply in relationships for men being able to understand this? Because all of it, I truly believe it does, because I think everything that we think about, we talk about as men, has been what you all have been conversating about here. And when we think of ourselves, I love that pizza illustration that you just gave, being whole within a whole. That's golden. That's golden right there. And that's the first time I even thought about that even a slice of pizza is a full slice. It's a full piece of the pizza.
Yeah.
When you break it down like that. So I love that. But here's my question, Doc, for you. When it comes to mental health, when it comes to men in relationships, and because we're in this weekend, and I told Donald before you came on, I was like the Cotton Candy podcast and pissed me off this weekend listening to relationships because of just this vitriol that I'm seeing in this day and time with not only relationships, with marriage and everything else. And can you help us out with understanding all of this mess that's going on when it comes to relationships, when it comes to marriage, and people's kind of distaste of marriage these days? And I don't know what your take is on it, and the effect that the mental health effect that it's having on people in these days, if that makes any sense to you.
Right. Well, let me just say this here, okay? And now I'm just putting it out there for the world to hear. Leave your marriage alone. There's nothing wrong with it.
Leave your marriage alone.
There is nothing
wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it.
Somebody type that in the chat for me, please. Those of you on YouTube, you're on YouTube, put it in the chat. You're on LinkedIn, put it in the chat. Facebook, put it in the chat.
Leave your marriage alone.
There is nothing wrong.
And absolutely nothing wrong with your marriage.
Wow. Yeah, Doc. Okay.
Here we go. My wife loves to cook. See, I like to tell stories because as a therapist, I don't go into all this book stuff. It got me through school, but I got to get to where the people are at. My wife, she's a wonderful cook, man. And she will, if she's experiment with something, she likes to experiment with dishes and stuff like that. clean the counter off, get all of her ingredients and put it up there. Right? And then she's doing all this thing. And you know, one day she was gonna make this cake. And she did everything and put it in the oven, all that kind of stuff. And then when she went in, she figured it's time. The thing was just flat.
Yeah.
And she got upset. I said, leave that cake alone. There's nothing wrong with it. I said, you left the baking soda out of this thing here. That's why it's like that. So when it comes down to relationships, okay, when it comes down to marriage, the thing for you to figure out and work with is this. There is nothing wrong with your marriage. The problem is that the ingredient that you put into the marriage is not what is, you know, that you put in, but you have a different concept of the outcome. Are you all with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
So guess what? If you change the ingredient you put in your marriage, you have a different outcome.
There's nothing wrong with the marriage.
No.
It's the ingredient.
No, nothing wrong with the marriage. The problem here is this: the quality of the interpersonal relationship will determine the quality of the outcome, because marriage is only a stage that you act out the quality of interpersonal relationships.
Yes.
And
yes.
And Doc, I love what you just said, because one of my mentors, Dr. Will, he always says this. He has this thing, you know how the Duncan Hines has the box of brownies, got the pretty brownies on the front of the box. And he talks about how Duncan Hines has perfected the formula for getting brownies.
Right.
He said, if you want what's on the front of the box, you have to follow the recipe that they've given to you. If you don't follow the recipe, you're not going to get what's on the front of the box.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said, because it said if you follow the formula, you'll get what you want out of the marriage, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You know, yeah. And so when my wife left that very important piece of ingredient out, she got a cake, but she got what the ingredient would produce. But it wasn't what she wanted, but because she left that out inadvertently, okay, she got something else and she was blaming the cake. Look, it says it's all flat. I said, no, leave it alone. Leave it alone. And so, Doc, you're saying, listen, you're not married. So here it is. Here it is. You know, just because you're not married, it doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to get married. That's not what I mean. But here it is. I got married. So let's get back to the pizza. I got married not because there was anything wrong with me, not because I was not a whole person.
Yeah. Doctor.
I got married because I was a whole person, but this whole person was not, did not have the capacity to fulfill some needs that I had. So I had to bring another ingredient into my life. And when my life here and her life here came together, and the head bumping was over, then we were able to merge and get married like this. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Marriage and get married like this. So yeah, we got to be able to get past those pieces. But unless you can see yourself as a whole person, you have nothing to bring to an alliance, a merger of a marriage, and you'll always be dependent on your spouse to make you into what you want to be. Why? Because there is a piece of you that's left out of you. Like my wife left this stuff out of the cake. It did not represent what it should be, and so she got upset. So you got to know. You got to know. This slice of pizza is as whole as it's going to be.
That's so good.
This person here, I'm as whole as I'm going to be. But are there some other experiences that I'd like to have? The answer is yes. What do I need to do? I need to add some more to this ingredient here to make it happen. Make it happen.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But here's the key, though. Here's the key. The foundation for marriage requires a certain amount of work. But when you're going to add something else to the foundation, okay? you gotta, the prepping is really, this really works because you can't put something that's that's about 10 tons, okay, on a foundation that's only made to hold up 500 pounds. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So my foundation as a single person, I'm married, but your foundation, Doc, as a single person, to bring somebody else on in that foundation, you got to prep the foundation, which means that you now have to expand your foundation in order to accept this person, and the other person, since it's a merger, need to expand their foundation so that there is this meaningful merger between two people. And you can only do that if you expand, both of you expand your foundation. And the degree to which you do that, notice I didn't say go outside of yourself to get the material to expand the foundation. It's like right here. It's internal. You use it. And so let me get back to, so I got this shirt here. Said, you see what it says? It says what? Refueling.
Mm-hmm.
Refueling. So I was driving down 65 one day and I ran out. I was going to see, and I knew that morning that I needed to fill up when I got to the office. But they said, listen, you got to go over there. I forgot about my car. I ran out of gas because I was not paying attention to the needle. You see, every marriage got its own emotional gas gauge. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't pay attention to the gas gauge, we're going to run out of gas. And that's going to cause a problem. So we got to be totally focused, not just on the interior and how nice the car rides. We've got to be concerned about what do I need to do to make sure that it will still be available to me today, tomorrow, the next day. Marriage, I'm not saying marriage is a thing, but I'm saying, if I want my wife to be available to me and me to be available, we've got to have this contractual understanding that say, like, we will always be checking on our emotional gas gauge.
So Doc, I want to tell you a conversation I had with a friend. It's a perfect segue. Your last comment is a perfect segue into some work that is being done, the family department at Morehouse.
Okay.
And I asked a friend of mine, because the statistics say that a great majority of people that are filing for divorce are women. And I asked the sister who is at Morehouse, doing some work at Morehouse. I said, what is that? And she said, Donald, look, sometimes, and it goes specifically to your point, right? She said, most times women will give chance after chance after chance, right? She said, y'all don't have a clue what's going on. like you guys are so aloof to what's happening, the cries of your wife, the subtle hints of your wife. I remember one day my wife said to me, hey babe, I feel like you married to remain and I get what's left over. Right? So
you remember what I said earlier on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So what are some checkpoints, right? Talking specifically to the brothers, what are some checkpoints? Because we are aloof, like we're so passionate about the work, purpose, all those kinds of things that we've got going on inside Remain. We believe we can have it all, right? We believe that you can have a great business, a great marriage, a great life. You don't have to have one and not have the others. You can have it all. So I'm wondering, what are the things that you would say to a guy as he attempts to navigate all of that and still make sure that he is paying attention to the gauge of his marriage and family, which is a significant part. Chris Broussard said to me, he said, hey, Donald, the most revolutionary thing a Black man can do now in this country is to get married, to stay committed to his wife and raise his children. Like that is a revolutionary idea in today's culture, right? So I'm wondering what men can do so that we're not as aloof. Every man doesn't have a wife to say to him, like my wife is very vocal. She's going to say to me, hey, my man, like I feel like I get the leftovers, I get the remnant, I get the crumbs of all the other work that you're doing. Not every man has a wife that is going to be that vocal. I'm wondering what we can tell brothers to keep an eye on their relationships and marriages.
Okay, all right. So let me go back to the Bible, if you don't mind.
No, sir.
So Moses killed a man in Egypt. He had to killed an Egyptian. He ran away. 40 years. He was 40 when he ran away from Egypt. 40 years he spent in the wilderness. 40 years. All he heard was bah, 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 for 40 years. That's all he heard.
Yeah.
Sheep out there.
Yeah.
And he saw fire. Listen, that part of the country was so arid, it was impossible not to see a fire. So he saw fire. And then one day he saw a fire that was different from all other fires. Right? And that fire caught his attention. And he said, let me turn aside and go see this sight. And this voice started to speak to him out of the fire. And, so God said, listen, Moses, I've heard the cries of my people. He said, listen, come up unto me, and I want you to go down to Egypt. Moses said, God, you lost your mind. He said, why? Why'd you ask Moses? Because they're a friend. They can talk right there. He said, what? Because, I killed a man down there, man. God said, don't worry about that, man. He said, God, in Egypt, all over Sphinx Avenue and everywhere, posters, wanted dead or alive. I can't really say, Moses, don't worry.
Wanted dead or alive.
Wanted dead or alive. And then when Moses ran out of excuses, he asked the most fundamental question, an existential question that any human being can and should ask. And I'm looking for something. Yes, I do. I have it. Can and should ask. He asked the question, who am I? The man is 80 and he ain't got a clue who he is. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about the question that you asked about these brothers.
Yes, sir.
When we don't know who we are and we get married so that our wives can create a picture of ourselves that we are dissatisfied with, something is wrong. And we put the pressure on them. No wonder they say, listen, I can't skate this no more because you're draining me of me so you can get better. Come on now.
Woo! Doc. Wait, rewind. So so many brothers are draining their wives so they can be better.
Yes. And guess what? That is a cultural myth that we've been dealing with, because out there we talk about how women are strong and they make us go. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yes,
no,
sir.
And we believe that stuff. So we go into marriage expecting our wives to be, and they're saying, man, this guy's empty. We don't get it. Nothing is going on here. Nothing is going on here because we're not bringing anything to our wives. Why should they stay around if they are not getting fed? They're going to go to another restaurant. Excuse the expression, but you understand what I'm saying here?
Oh, yes, sir.
So the whole idea of what can I tell my brothers? When Moses asked the question, who am I? Make sure you got an answer to that question. I'm going to show you how to get the answer to that question. Let me tell you, excuse me, he's dead and gone, but Michael Jackson told the world a lie and the world believed it.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Look at the man in the mirror. So here's the deal. Got up at like this morning, like every other morning. Fix myself and stuff. And I was fix all this stuff, doing all this kind of stuff. Do you know I never thought about reaching into the mirror to change something outside the mirror.
Yes, sir.
There
Yes,
ain't
sir.
no man in the mirror, is what I'm saying to you.
Yes, sir.
And so sometimes we try to mirror ourselves in our spouses and try to change our spouses so that the man outside the spouse can look good. There ain't, oh Lord, come on. You hear what I'm saying here?
Listen, Doc, one of the, there are, your Leroy, is he all in Remand?
He's straight up, bruh. This is why we call it the Grown Man Podcast.
He's
Because
all in Remand, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
it is what is talked about, what we try to get brothers to understand
Yeah.
each and every single day.
Yeah.
There are
Truly.
two fundamental questions, Doc, that we tell
Yep.
every man you must know. The frustrations, the challenges, the things in relationships, all of those things we tell brothers until you're able to answer, and we help them to discover it.
Yeah.
There are two fundamental questions that you must answer. One is, who am I?
Yes.
Who am I?
Yes, that's it.
Question number two, why am I? Question number one is a question of identity. Question
Yeah.
number two is a question of purpose. Until a man, a black man in particular, answers those two questions, he will have problems and a frustrating life. So when you mentioned it, it blew my mind because here's the other deal. Let me just kind of tell you what I woke up thinking about this morning. I'm getting ready to go learn from Dr. Kent. I'm gonna lay on the couch. Doc, and I'm gonna ask him a bunch of questions, right? Because so what you have taught us today, and we're going to go into the last segment of our conversation because I want everyone to be able to ask Dr. Kit some questions. So if you're out there and you got some questions, I want you to be able to ask him some questions. If you ain't got no questions, I got plenty of them. I got plenty of them. Right, we're gonna let him go at 11:30. It's 11:07 right now. We're gonna let him go in 20 minutes. So please don't at 11:28 say, Dr. Kid, I got a question, because I'm letting him go at 11:30. Right. So please put questions in the chat. Yes, sir.
Let me just say, I love those two questions.
Yes, sir.
Because I ask those things in my sessions. So you're right on time.
Yes,
but
sir.
Can I introduce you to another question?
Yes, sir.
Another question is, how am I? Because how am is in the now. My I is different from every other I, and every day, because I'm growing every day, my I-ness is changing every day. So my am-ness is also changing with me. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow. Yes, sir.
And so finding out from the brothers, and listen, we're talking about brother. If we're talking about marriage and we're talking about the relationship between men and women, you know we should be talking equally about women too, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how am I like right now? And here it is. How am I? I'm thirsty. Therefore, because I'm thirsty,
yes, sir.
I drink water.
Yes, sir.
You know what? You know I don't like drinking water, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Neither do I. Yes,
okay. But I drink the water not because I'm thirsty, but because I don't like the way I feel when I'm thirsty.
Yes, sir. So let me ask you this. I want you to dive deeper. Yeah. So now I'm I'm inquisitive enough to find out where I am at any different point of my life, right? So I got to be curious about. Okay, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yes, and you know, and that is what I call. I remember several years ago I was teaching at this university. University was accredited, but this one department was not accredited. So we had to go through all the accreditation stuff.
Yes.
This is the first time I was ever gone through an accreditation with a department.
Okay.
And We did we had to go down to the books and said chairs, square foot per person, all this kind of stuff went down through there. And you know what they call that? Self-study.
Self-study.
Self-study is not just a presupposition. Self-study requires us at that time to look inside of the department to see what was necessary that we didn't have, and provide what was necessary that we didn't have so that we could get the accreditation which comes from the outside. So it required us to go on the inside of here. So self-study. So the question is, how am I right now? I need to tell you, not some philosophical ideas about all this kind of stuff. Not use all these flat words. I'm going to say, man, I'm in pain.
Yeah.
And then, so let me push it a little further. Man, I'm in pain. So when I tell you I'm in pain, okay, the only reason you have any understanding of what pain is, okay, because you've been in pain yourself. But here is the key. You don't have the capacity to understand my pain the way I experience my pain.
Yes, sir.
You don't have that capacity. Nobody's got that. So so in marriage, when I'm talking about my wife, we talk about spouses in any kind of relationship, do we have the capacity to understand so when my wife said to me, I got a headache. I said, baby, man. I'm saying, I said, how bad is it? She said, it's really bad. I gotta go lay down. I'm thinking, man, her head is exploding. But guess what? I ain't feeling her pain.
Yes, sir.
Neither do I have the capacity to feel her pain.
Yes, sir.
So there is something about the quality of the relationship that when we live it, there is only so much that we can understand about our spouses. There's only so much we can understand about our spouses. And sometimes out there, people tell us that we need to be able to understand things about which we just cannot understand. And so we live with that. And it is a constant refueling of the self and the refueling of the relationship that keeps the relationship going. Got the constant refueling. You know what I'm saying? When we're driving, we got a son that lives way up in the DMV. When we load up that tank with gas, we know it ain't gonna take us, man. If we want to get to our destination, guess what we got to do? We got to refuel. Now, here's the key to refueling. You don't listen. This is not fighting. This is not like a fighter jet. We're gonna do midair refueling.
Yes.
You've got to pull off the highway, the busy highway.
Yep.
You got to take some time. You got to shut that engine down. Shut the brain down and say, baby, I'm the car, refuel me. Baby, you're the car, I will now refuel you. And we take time to refuel each other. You got to stop, get off the busy highway and do that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
This is everybody do this. This is the universal sign for he's blowing my mind. Everybody just put your hands on your head, right? Because I am, listen, hey babe, go ahead and type your question in if you got a question. I know while we got Dr. Kit. Dr. Kit, can I tell you that my wife and I, before we got married, we wanted you to counsel us. We did. We even called your office. We wanted you to counsel us because we knew you was going to shoot straight. We knew you were going to be honest, right? Yeah. And I think for me as a man, and for many men that we deal with inside Remain, guys are just looking for somebody that's going to shoot straight. Just shoot straight with me. Right? If I'm blowing it, let me know I'm blowing it. You ain't got to sugarcoat it with me. We used to football, basketball. That's why Leroy always talks about the Cotton Candy podcast, going around and talking all that junk. Yeah. And so my mind is blown because I am guilty of trying to refuel in the air. I'm guilty of that. Right? Yeah, I'm guilty.
Can you tell us what you mean by that?
Time-
Tell us what you mean by that. Tell us what you mean by that.
So Remand is probably one of the only organizations in the country or in the world that has its own fun coach. We have a coach that teaches nothing but enjoyment and leisure. That's his assignment within Remand.
All right. Uh-huh.
I am a workaholic, and I'm a workaholic because I love what I do. So I have asked my wife over and over again. I'm putting myself on the couch, right? I've asked my wife over and over again, babe, I got this going on, I got this going on, I got this going on. And I'm expecting, okay, we can go out to dinner. That's my idea of refueling in the air. Like I never, you know, I ain't got no time to go on no vacation. I ain't got no time to, you know, to go on a trip. I ain't got no time for any of that. And let me tell you what my wife gonna do. My wife gonna say, you heard what Dr. Kit said, didn't you? See, because she loved you. You heard what Dr. Kit said, right? So I've got to recalibrate, Doc, how I approach leisure, because I will tell you, I always work through it, but there's a level of guilt and shame that comes to me when I rest. So if I rest, there's a level of guilt and shame that comes along with that. And there in my mind, I'm saying, well, you could be doing something to help some man out there, right? And so I would much rather, I feel real good when I'm working. I feel real bad when I'm resting. Does that make sense?
Oh man, it makes sense. It makes so much sense. But here it is. Here it is. Do you know that, you know, you call yourself a workaholic because it sounds great.
Yeah.
It sounds really good. You know, it means that you're always grinding it out, always cranking it out. You're always going, man, I can't stop. So here is the key. Every behavior has a cause,
yes,
a reason,
yes,
a meaning, and a function. I'm not going to go down. It's that's got a cause, a reason, a meaning, and a function.
Yes, sir.
So stop calling yourself an alcoholic, because you're not a workaholic. You're not.
Okay.
You're not a workaholic. You are not a workaholic. Okay. There is a reason and a function for your working, and here it is, real quick. Here it is to escape from yourself.
All right.
Say it again, Doc.
We've had a great time.
Say it again, Doc. I don't think he heard you. I don't think he heard you. Say it again.
Listen. The whole point is that we have so much about ourselves, our guilt, our faults, all the things that's riding our minds all the time. And you know what? Because it's up here, you know, we can't tear our heads off and throw it somewhere. So what do? We get busy, very busy doing things, and the degree to which we can succeed in getting busy. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't work. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes,
but what I'm saying that there is nothing else in life, okay, then what we're doing is trying to escape from a piece of ourselves that we're having difficulty dealing with. And so when we escape from that, it gives us a sense of it don't exist. And if it don't exist, then I'm okay.
You see what my wife said, Doc? Look what my wife said. See, this is I'm going to have to deal with it. Doc has spoken.
No, you know, but listen. Hear me right. I'm not saying we shouldn't do all those things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the good book says for everything there is a season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a season to work.
Yeah.
But then there is a season to self-reflect. Reflect on yourself. Why? Because the self is always under construction.
Yes.
It is the greatest construction work that has ever happened. And guess what? This is not the construction where you need a bulldozer. You don't need that. You don't need tools. It is a matter of going into your mind and taking what I call the long, lonely journey through a dark, quiet place. When you go down that road, you are always reconstructing. You're always under construction. And it's not a construction to get better, so that you can finish this thing. It's a construction so that you can always have a greater understanding of yourself in the now.
Yup. Yup. Yeah. And so, those of you that have any questions, I think my wife is jumping up in the other room. But those of you that have any questions, I don't even want to, Leroy, I don't even want to see my wife after the podcast.
No, you ain't got to worry about it, because she gonna be standing right at the door. She'll be standing right at the door waiting for you.
Right.
And you know what? And she's gonna speak without saying anything, right?
Exactly. Yep. She ain't gonna say a word. She's gonna sit there with her arms folded.
Yeah.
And all she gonna do is nod her head.
Almost like, so what you gonna do about it now?
Yeah,
Right.
Isn't that the question though? The question is, sometimes, we can hear these gems that Doc is dropping, right? And do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Right. We can hear and do nothing about it. I want my wife to know that I respect and honor Dr. Kit and his time enough to do something about what he just said to me. Like, I think it's dishonorable to allow a man of this level to share something with me and then I not do it. I think that's dishonorable. I think it's without integrity to hear something that can benefit me and my marriage and then not do anything about it. That's dishonorable to me. I'll never dishonor his time like that.
But see, that's the key though, because many folk get teaching, they get the tools that they need.
Yes.
But what happens is, and I tell you this all the time, everybody, and remember, they're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be those few. There's only that few that say, I'm going to do what's necessary. I'm going to implement those things that I'm being given.
Yes.
It's just the way that the world is. And Doc, I got a question for you. How does a man have how does he get the balance between the work and the leisure? Because if you lean to the left or you lean to the right, one way or the other, you tend to, folks tend to lean one way or the other. They either want to be on the all leisure side and not do the work, as we talked about, or be all on the work side and forget about the leisure. How do you create that balance? How does a man create that balance so that he does have both in his life? And when does he need to see, hey, I need to kind of have a little bit more fun, or I need to put more work, more time into what I'm doing?
Yeah. Oh man, I love that question. I love that question. Great question.
Yeah.
But let me make an attempt to do this here. I think one of the difficulties that we might have as people achieving this is this: that we see ourselves as doing things. Right?
Yes.
When I see myself as I am, my amness is over here, engaged in this. My whole amness is over here, which is not in competition with the other part of me over here. I am at all times, as opposed to I'm doing.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? So
yes.
My whole self is involved in this part of me here. And this part of me need to be satisfied enough to say I can go over here. So let me put it. I'm gonna put it this way. I remember. Our son. He was here with his wife, and when they had their first child, and my wife and I, and they were sitting on the couch. And their son was about. This is their first child. Their son was about. I think maybe about 6 months, because he really couldn't walk. 6 to 8 months, somewhere around about there. But my son and his wife are sitting on the couch side by side. And he would walk around, climb down off of his dad, down on the floor. His wife was sitting right beside him. The mother was sitting right, but he climbed down off the floor, walk here, and climb up on his mother. He would do this, or he's trying to climb up. Then he would do this and come down and go back to his dad. The whole idea here is what he was doing. We're talking about moving from one place to the other, doing this or doing that. The whole idea of what was going on here was this, that, let me go back to the refueling now. Okay. He had a very small emotional gas tank. And so when he was with his father, he was filling up his gas tank.
Mhm.
By the time he was saying, wait a minute, I'm my gas tank is good with my dad, but I'm empty for my mama. So let me get down and go over here to get my mama. And they'll do this dance. Every time he would run out of gas over here, he'd go over here, refuel over here, come. And that's it. So when we come, so what happened when we keep doing, Doc, we do this over here to fill up over here. But when we're filling up over here, we're getting empty over here. And then we come back over and say, let's do over here. And then when we do over here and we fill over here, we go, because it's empty over here, let's do. But when we say, I'm not segregated like that. I am. And because I am, I can take the time to satisfy myself without causing a problem to the other part of myself.
Wow.
You understand?
Wow.
Just the whole idea of this child going from one to the next is from one behavior to another behavior. When I'm full over here, I feel empty over here. So let me leave this and go over here and fill up over here. Man, when I'm done with the ball game, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do something else. When I'm over here, I go back to the ball game. We keep doing this emotional dance.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It is a dance. Why? Because you're the same partner doing the same thing, and trying to do what? Trying to satisfy yourself.
Yeah.
In two different places.
Yeah.
With two different ingredients.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what's amazing, which again is in line, and for those of you that you didn't ask your questions, please don't inbox me no question. Dr. Kit, Dr. Kit was here. He made himself available, and I do want to recognize before we close. I'm gonna give Leroy comments, then you, Doc, comments, and then I'll take the closing comments. No, I'm gonna take mine now. Leroy, then you go after me, and then Doc can close us out, and then we'll play a commercial, and then we'll get out of here. Brothers oftentimes come to us, and particularly, guys come to us about business, guys come to us about marriage. They come for a plethora of reasons, right? And most times when they come, they ask the question, what do I need to do differently? And I always say to them, bro, that's not the right question. The real question is, who do I need to become? Right? Becoming someone different will inform what you do. Like, it'll inform your behaviors. And then those behaviors will inform what you ultimately have, what you want, your desires. But you can't begin with what you do because of exactly what you just said, Doc. If I start with what I do, it's not sustainable. Right? I love when you say my amness. I promise you, we've had a very high count of people watching today. So usually I say, I'm gonna give you credit the first time, and then I'm gonna take it for the rest of the time. But it's too many people on the podcast today. They'll know that it came from you, right? That this idea of amness, this idea of being mindful, being fully present, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to personally do a couple of things. One is thank you for today. I grew today. I became better as an individual Black male, as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, as a community leader. I became better today, and I want to thank you for that. I also want to. We got to do a part 2, and it seemed like to me we better do a part 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's a resident guest appearance that you can come on anytime you want to come on, because I think men really need your voice. Leroy? Who else is going to come on the Grown Man Podcast and talk to the leader of Remain, like Dr. Kit? You ain't no workaholic. Stop saying that. You ain't no. That is the man that I met on that television screen. I said, I like him. You don't care. I'm the leader of Remain. Stop saying that. I stop saying that. So I want to thank you, Doc. I'm going to be in contact with your team to see some other times in the future that you can be available to come back on.
Absolutely.
But you have been absolutely phenomenal. Leroy, I'm gonna give it to you, and then you can give it to Dr. Kit to make the last comments, and then I'll play the commercials. We out of here.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Dr. Kit. Thank you for just this awesome conversation that you gave to us today as men. I'll reiterate what Donald said. You made me better today. I have this thing of being where I say it should be everyone's goal to be 1% better than they were yesterday. Whatever that looks like. You made me 1%, that 1% better today than I was yesterday, just by sitting here and listening to you and hearing you and what you said and how you poured into us tremendously. So I'm grateful for this today. We need this. We need this as Black men. These are the kinds of conversations that we need to be having, not those other ones. So I appreciate you taking the time out to make us better, to make all of us better in doing these conversations, especially, with this month being Mental Health Month. You're making Mental Health Month for us as men, being able to understand, because this is something that these conversations aren't usually had by us as men, and it has to do with us being our mental health being better. So I appreciate you, Donald. Thanks for having this conversation today, man. This was phenomenal. So I hope everybody took notes, because, like I said, don't call for no more questions, because we ain't got them for you. So you'll get them the next time the doctor decides to come on. You can ask it then. But for right now, this is what you get. You can go back and watch the replay. You can go back and watch the replay and get it from there. So thank you again, Dr. Kit. Right. We appreciate you, brother, for this opportunity to be able to have you come on and be able to speak to us on the Grown Man Podcast. Thank you so much.
All right, listen, man. Listen, Dwight and Doc, man. I appreciate both of you so much, man. Listen. I don't know about y'all, but I had fun. It's too late to change that now. I had a whole lot of fun, man. I don't know, but on a more serious note, I want to leave a message for our brothers and for people in general, people of color like us in general.
Yes, sir.
So my wife says to me, "Listen, I want you to go to the store, and get a can of baked beans for me. Okay, we're gonna have a nice breakfast." So, man, I want to get back home so I can have a breakfast. She's sending me to the store to go get food. So I rush into the store, right? And I go there, and I'm trying to look like this. So I said, "Sir, can you tell me which aisle I can find the beans?" He said, "Be on number 50." He said, "As a matter of fact, I ain't doing that. Let me walk you down there." He walks me down. We got all the beans here. And all the beans, he showed me all the beans. He said, "This is the beans you want, baked beans." I said, "Yeah, okay, great." So listen to what I'm saying. So I reached into my pocket and I put out a can opener. a can of beans. I opened. He's like, "Sir, what you doing?" I said, "Man, I'm trying to see if what the label says is true about what's on the inside." I got a message. So he said, "Sir, I've been working here for 15 years, and ain't nobody ever said that the label, hear what I'm saying, that the label is wrong." So what? There's more to that story. So what I'm telling both of y'all and telling my black brothers and anybody, the problem that we're having as black people has nothing to do with any other race on the planet. It has everything to do with the fact that we believe the label they put on us, and we don't know what's on the inside. And so because when we don't know what's on the inside, we believe the label, or we make the label who we are, when we need to get deep on our inside and say, I am not what the label says, and then become.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Doc. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. That's so, God, that's powerful. Let's
Yeah.
It's what we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
This is an inside job.
Isn't it, though?
It's an inside job, Doc. All of the other stuff, the external stuff that we, try to and attempt to address, you can pick the fruit, but the fruit is going to appear again until you address the root of the issues. And the root of the issues are internal. And so one of the things that you did today, and I'm done here, is not that it needed it, but I value you, right? Leroy, I think Dr. Kit affirmed the work we do.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
He like every statement just affirmed the work, right? That we do with brothers, and I'm just elated. I really, really am. I'm elated. And I tell you what I'm going to do, though. I am going to set up a session with wifey and I, because we're good, and I want to stay that way. We're good, and I want to stay that way, right? I think a lot of times we go to therapy, counseling, so on and so forth, when things get rough. I want to refuel. I want to sit down.
There you go.
Yeah. And so I'm going to call your office, talk with someone about setting up an appointment. And there's just so many things going on in my mind that I really want to do. And so I'd like to have some further conversation with you, Doc, offline, because I think that you, as evidenced today, are probably one of the most brilliant brothers that I've ever met. And what I saw on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and you said, well, I wonder if that's a one-hit wonder. I wonder if that's him for real, right? I wonder if that's who he is for real. That's who he is for real. This is who he is
all the way,
right?
All the way,
all the way. So thank you so much for pouring into us today. Thank you for pouring into our audience today. For those of you that are watching, do me a favor. Don't forget that you can join, if you are a Black male, you can join our exclusive Facebook community for Black males. Just go to facebook.com/groups/the Remand Community and join the Remand Community. Be a part of all that we've got going on there. Also, you see at the bottom, go to www.theremandbook.com and get Leroy. Did I mention the book? There it is.
Did you? Wait a minute. I heard the word.
Yeah,
I heard the word, but I think it is snuck up on me.
It's snuck up on us, Leroy. The Remand Book, The Spiritual Journey for Mastering Life, Leadership, and Legacy. Get your copy of the Remand Book. And then also, I also want to thank the individuals at pray.com who have been so great at pouring into us at pray.com. So we've got the gala coming up October.
Yes, sir.
What is that? 12th? October 12th?
19th.
19th?
19th. October 19th.
October 19th. The gala is coming up. You can get your tickets to the gala. It's for our nonprofit, the Remand Project, who had the bright idea of naming our for-profit and nonprofit the exact same name, the Remand Project. INC is our nonprofit, and Remand Project LLC is our for-profit. We are unapologetically about adult Black males, helping to transform the character of those guys and the institutions that impact them. And so we have come up with an agenda because everybody seemingly has an agenda, but adult Black males. But we got one now. We're going to post it inside the Facebook community for everyone to be able to see. Sisters say, of course, even my wife, let us in the sea. That would be a no. You cannot get inside the Remand community. It is for adult Black males only. There are no sisters allowed. It gives us space to be able to hold space for courageous conversations, just like the one that we've had today. We are more specific during those conversations inside the Remand community, but it has been absolutely great. Dr. Kidd, again, thank you for being with us, man. You are phenomenal. Dr. Leroy, good to see you, man. You want to tell the people what you want to tell the people, bro? On the count of three, we gonna tell them what we gonna tell them, Leroy.
1, 2, 3. Be gone.
Thank you
guys later. Have a
Thank
great
you for having me on, man. Thank you all so much. All right now.
Thanks, Doc.
Okay. All right. Okay, bye-bye.
The Remand Project is a coaching and consulting firm specializing in personal and leadership development for adult Black males, seeking to break the vicious cycle of missed potential so that they themselves transform their personal lives, their sense of leadership to their families, and their legacies that they want to leave for business and culture. We destroy this cycle on two fronts. We confront both the institution and the individual. We address the institution because, according to the statistics, Black males are under assault and are targeted for extinction in ways that their white counterparts are not. We are over-incarcerated and under-educated. There are systems in place, political systems, media systems, and religious systems that serve as intentional, or some say unintentional, barriers to the Black male's advancement. As a result, we work to raise public awareness about issues confronting Black males, promote healthy and positive images about Black males, curate spaces to share information and resources about programs, services, and support for Black males, support knowledge creation and dissemination around these issues, and provide a forum for Black males to both speak and act for themselves. We address the individual Black male because we cannot avoid personal responsibility. We are now overmothered and underfathered. We make bad social choices, and we avoid responsibility for getting ourselves out from under the social plight that we face. We will develop the moral compass and character necessary to face the adverse realities that are faced in everyday life. We live by the premise that even that which is not our fault is still our responsibility. In 2019, we answered the call to transform the culture one man at a time. Our society, our families, and men in particular are in a state of crisis. And the goal of the Remand Project is to curate the largest, strongest, and dopest community of Black males in the entire world. We then create awareness and action against the institutional and individual impediments that exist against the foundation of our culture. and overall society, which is the black male.